This is the open wheel Formula Ford class. This is Group 4. And who are some people we want to watch out for today?
Well, locally, the Leiferts, father and son, Chuck Leifert and Charlie Leifert are two top drivers. Also, Brian Snyder is a very fast driver. Stephen Guy. People can kind of come out of here, surprisingly enough. They race a lot, these cars, but if somebody really has a good day, they can make a radical improvement. It's surprising. You see these guys race a lot in the same cars, and all of a sudden there's somebody up there who usually is not.
It'll be Charlie Leifert, the younger of the two Leiferts, driving the lead car, the 78 and 1970 Caldwell D9. This is going to be the tightest racing we're going to see today. As far as the class, everyone, it's as level a playing field as we're going to get.
Yeah, that's very true. And, you know, these cars were developed originally for driving school cars in England, and it really caught on worldwide. This is a very, very popular class of cars, and it's not real expensive. I mean, like anything else, you could spend a lot of money on them, I'm sure. But it's a great way for people to drive some very exciting cars on a fairly low budget and race well. You know, this is a lot of driver skill in this class.
And again, we'll have 7 cameras, 8 on this race. If you include our eye in the sky, upward in the sky, we'll have a camera from the top there as well, from the helicopter. So we've got all your bases covered here this afternoon. And pace car ready to drop out. And we are underway here in Group 4, the Formula Ford's open wheel. No better sound in the world than that, is there? So again, Charlie Leifert, the son of Chuck Leifert, driving the front car with the number 78 1970 Caldwell D9. Chuck driving the number 8 car, a 1968 Winkleman WD1. We have 4 Winklemans out there on the track today.
Usually named for their builder.
It's Winkleman with 2 ends. We have a 68, 69, a 70, and a 72. So if we could get somebody out there with a 1971, we'd be all covered. And here they come from our vantage point. A tight grouping right there. Almost lost the lead there.
Yeah, that's a Formula One-like move right there.
As again, Charlie Leifert in the 78, followed by the 92 car. And that is John Ballantyne in the 1968 Titan MK4 Mark IV.
John runs a big brewery over in Montana, so we hope he's, I'm sure he's just had coffee this morning.
Well, I'm sure any guy who is well aware of you need to be on the top of your game. I don't even know if he's had coffee this morning, to be honest with you. Remember, you were talking about weight before, too. Every ounce counts.
That's so true, especially when the engines are so closely matched like this. Every little advantage you can get is great.
I mean, look at the variance with the displacement for the cubic centimeters. That, you know, you have a top of 1600 or 1699, excuse me, and it goes down to what, 1598.
Yeah,
so
not much.
Not much indeed.
And I even wonder if that 1699, I think that's a typo.
Well, there you go. Yeah, but that didn't seem like the right number to me when I saw that.
That looks like one of the things I'd type.
Well, we'll just keep to calling the race and do that. We'll let somebody else type it all up. So again, this is going to be tight here. And really what I'm looking forward to, Martin, is you'll probably have a tight lead pack, and then you'll probably have a tight secondary pack as well, except who knows right now as they come around that second straightaway.
Yeah, we got some distance. I'm opening up here.
Still, it's 1-2. It's Leifert right now, John Ballantyne, and then that tight grouping after that.
That's the tight grouping we were talking about. If there is a big lead, which I kind of doubt, but you'll see plenty of pack racing here. Usually it's about 5th through 10th. There's very, very tight groups in there.
Again, we've got the copter up there as well. And this is racing again at its finest. Formula 4s, the open wheels. And we'll get some good, tight racing. But right now, with a considerable lead, is Charlie Leifert, who has a good car going there with the 1970 Caldwell.
You know, he's a top racer, you know, year in and year out. There's 3 Leiferts racing here today, 2 in this race, and Charlie's wife will be racing later. And they have a race shop, actually, so their cars are very well prepared. They're strictly legal, of course. I'm not casting aspersions, but they've got excellent components, and they know how to get the most out of these engines.
And let's not forget about the man in black. We've been talking about Charlie Leifert, but in the black car, the only one you'll see out there, the number 8 car, Chuck Leifert, the 1968 Winkleman WD1, and you know, he's making a move there. As they started that first long straightaway, I should say, Chuck had a little bit of separation there. He might have momentum on his side now as he's able to close that gap.
Well, Chuck's quite a character, and believe me, he's raced hydroplanes, airplanes, and a lot of different cars, and he's well known. He's a very nice guy, but he gets crazy out there.
You have to have a hint of crazy to drive these cars, right? Just a little bit. It's in your DNA.
That's what makes it fun. You know, these guys they pit together. They're friends, but they're racing pretty hard out there. You won't see people cutting somebody off or anything like that. And of course, these cars, you can't have wheel-to-wheel contact. It's just deadly. So they give each other space. You can see moves that look a lot like Formula One if you watch Formula One on the weekends, and you can see the kind of moves. Same kind of respect, the same kind of moves that they can make to pass.
I see Charlie Leifert still with that lead ahead of John Ballantyne in the 92 car, in the 1968 Titan Mark IV. As they're coming down that long straightaway. There's 2 courses out here for those of you unaware here. This raceway. There's the short course and the long course, aptly named both. The long course measuring at 2 1/4 miles. In this morning session of racing, that is all they will be driving this morning.
They're talking about having sometime in the future, when that short course gets in a little better shape, to actually perhaps have in the same day the same groups racing in different races on different courses, which would be a lot of fun.
I've got a lead for that 3rd place now as Chuck Leifert has seated that 3 spot. And that, I believe, is Brian Snyder in the 28 car.
Guy. He's always at the top of this pack.
So Brian Snyder has taken over the 3rd spot, as you see, and he's making up some ground here. So we might have a finish between 1, 2, and 3 before all is said and done.
That's quite possible. Brian is that kind of a driver. He gets a lot out of that car.
Brian in one of those Winklemans, a 1970 Winkleman. How much conservation is there out there? People just kind of waiting a little bit. I know gas is obviously not an issue with a 20-minute race, but a little bit of conservation, maybe lull people in a little bit before you overtake them.
I really don't think so here. If you slow down, you kind of lose momentum, and these cars are so closely grouped that it's hard to make up distance if you really get behind. You know, you just don't have a powerful enough engine to pull in on somebody, even if you have an open track in front of you. You know, if you get behind, you're probably going to stay behind. A lot of these drivers are not kids. You know, this is a sport that has all ages, and Chuck I'm sure he's in his 70s. Not that that's so terribly old from my perspective, but, you know, you think about racers being young men. Well, Chuck knows how to race, you know, the maximum effort for the minimum strain, and he's as tough at the end of the race as he is at the beginning.
Well, that 1, 2, and 3. And we have a new 2nd place runner now. Brian Snyder has now overtaken John Ballantyne. So it's Charlie Leifert in the 78 car, the lead car. Brian Snyder, the 28, in 2nd, and John Ballantyne now in 3rd.
And they're pretty close.
But Charlie Leifert is really driven great lines out here today, and really seen the course very well.
Right, even, oh boy, was he, I think he was here last year. I wish I could remember.
Oh, almost a spin out there, but held the line, and that's where the veteran savvy comes in.
You bet. He held that line without losing a thing. He didn't get sideways enough to lose momentum. No. Oh, they're really getting close now.
Well, there we go. Here's the long straightaway and an opportunity now as they come around that turn, and we're going to have a lead change.
He got him.
He got him. So a new leader, Brian Snyder, with the lead for the first time as they come around that first curve off that long straightaway here on the 2 1/4 mile track. So Charlie Leifert, who had led from the start, now in second behind Brian Snyder. And he's going to have to look out now because don't forget about John Ballantyne, who had been pressing him 1 versus 2.
Snyder made a nice move. I think he was 4th or even 5th at one point, and you couldn't really see him on the screen. And all of a sudden, there he came. Very nice move.
So with the lead, Brian Snyder for the first time. The 92 car, John Ballantyne, in 3rd. A tight race. Again, we were talking about those pockets, and between the 4, 5, and 6 cars, that's going to be one to keep an eye on as well.
The top 10 in these, really in the top 10, they're pretty close in these races. And you usually will get somebody pulling away who's having a good day, or his car happens to be running just perfectly. But they're still close at the top.
Where is this race won and lost? Where would you say are the pivotal moments? Are there 1 or 2 places in the course of this race, maybe just on the course itself, where that's where you have to hold your line, that's where the victory is going to come?
With these guys, it'd certainly be in the turns because their engines are so, they're so closely matched. Just holding the right line in turns, and these guys behind, they're kind of getting each other's way a little bit at times, so it's hard to move up on the leaders. The leaders have a pretty open course in front of them, so they're able to do pretty much what they want. But it's certainly the turns in here. You go in fast, you try to hold as much speed as you can so you can come out fast. And that's what I said about momentum. Is so critical in these cars.
And here's that lead car once again. Again, the timed race, 20 minutes. And that is Brian Snyder, followed by Charlie Leifert, still holding on to that second spot, and running 3rd, John Ballantyne.
Heck of a race for 4th.
There is. There's a pack of 3 for that 4th spot.
Boy, yeah, there's some nice 2-car races going on. These guys are having as much fun as the leader, maybe even more, I
believe that's Chuck O'Connor driving that 4th place car right now, a 1970 Winkelmann.
Another always at the top driver.
Well, if your name's Charlie or Chuck, you're in pretty good shape.
It looks that way, doesn't it? Yeah, you can see them trying to maneuver, looking for a little opening in there as they come into these turns. Somebody just makes a little mistake, gets a little sideways, or, things can happen, and you can jump inside. You have to be alert every minute for your opportunity.
Well, we saw several laps ago. That's the spot it seems to make the move and try to get those lead changes.
Yep, there it was, another one. Well, not for the lead, but for a pack lead.
It was Chuck O'Connor who had that 4th spot. They came around that turn. And here's our lead car once again, and looks like really putting some separation now. And if you're behind Brian Snyder right now, you're just waiting for a mistake. Charlie Leifert in 2nd, and correct. Still in 3rd is John Ballantyne. And again, that tight race for that 4th position. And there's the man in black right behind him. So Chuck Leifert right behind Chuck O'Connor.
Right, this is a surprising lead for Brian Snyder. Not that I'm surprised he's at the top, but he's really getting some distance out there. Good for him. He's doing a good job.
And a great clean race so far as well. We've seen some great technical driving out there. And this is exactly what you want. No cautions. You don't want to see that pace car even come out there, and we've seen some good clean racing and no spills, no spin outs or anything, and really holding their lines very well.
Right, nobody breaking down. These cars are pretty reliable. By and large, though.
I'll have to remember that when I buy my new car. Don't know if the wife would appreciate that or not, though.
It'd be hard to sneak this one into the garage, wouldn't it?
It would be. I don't think the car cover would really work well there. I think the track is in great condition here today, too.
Oh, yes, it sure is. And I think it would have done okay in the rain even, but I'm glad we've got dry conditions. It sure makes it more fun.
And this is one of those things you don't have to, we don't want to worry about, and hopefully we won't. We do have a yellow flag out here, and it looks like Snyder in the 28 car.
There was waving, so something's in the roadway. Oh, yep, somebody spun out. See, he's looking anxiously down there, guys. See me, here I am. I was getting out of the way.
He might be looking for an opportunity, yeah. Having a hard time to spotting exactly which car that is. Again, under the yellow flag here. Brian Snyder.
I think our leaders are there.
Yeah.
Steve Russell. Here he comes.
So he's back out on the track, and we're back underway.
He was one of those guys racing in a pack, so the pack has moved on.
Well, he'll have to find a new pack to go to now.
And I'm sure he can, too.
Well, we've had, 3 lead changes so far, and it's been fun. It's again, even though it looks like we may have a runaway winner right now with Brian Snyder, you just never know. And all it takes is just one wrong move, and you got a whole new ball game out
right,
here.
and like you say, there have been lead changes to get to this point.
That's fun for the drivers as well. That's what they want. It's one thing to drive the course, but you want to have some good racing where you're able to overtake some people as well.
That's right. Miles Jackson would say that. He probably enjoyed starting back in the last race, so he had a chance to work on somebody and pass him. It's fun to be out there all by yourself. I'm sure it's a nice feeling. But on the other hand, you're there to race, and that's one thing Formula Fords offer. Is an opportunity to race on a pretty equal basis. More packs developing as the race goes on. Oh, there's another spin, I think. Oh, yeah. Ooh,
yeah,
two cars.
Yep.
Oh, you can see people taking some evasive action there. Let's see, that's...
So we have the 99 car.
Oh, that's Reinhard Jung. He's a excellent car restorer from Idaho.
Well, that's a big one for Chuck O'Connor in the 2 car, because remember, he was pushing for second and third at one point, and obviously that's not going to happen now. He's able to get back on the track, and Young is still parked on the lawn, and we'll have to see if his day is going to be done or if he'll be able to get back out there.
Ooh. That official was a little aggressive in getting across the track. I admire his intentions, but I think I might have waited another minute.
Well, all eyes have been on that man, Brian Snyder, in the 1970 Winkleman, here under caution here. And he's putting on a clinic this afternoon.
He sure is, and it's an impressive drive. Now, of course, they're not under full course caution here, so he's still driving hard elsewhere, but he's obviously going to take it easy here. Now we have a white flag and a yellow flag as an emergency vehicle is out on the course to get that car out of harm's way. Even though, of course, he's not on the course itself right now, a spin might put somebody right into him, so they've got to get him a fair distance off.
And here's the checkered flag. They're on the clock. So Brian Snyder, the 1970 Winkleman. What a run he's had, and it continues as he takes the checkered flag. Well, a great run there by Brian Snyder in the 1970 Winkleman as he passes Charlie Lyford for the lead and never looks back as he takes the Group 4 in the Formula Fords and the open wheels.